Hi there. My name is Reverend Aliah Selah, and I'm so glad that you came by to check out what it means for an empath to be going through this 7-7 portal that ends with today's Capricorn full moon. So, blessings, grateful that you're here. And I just want you to know the world is changing and shifting. It's a really good time to learn astrology. And I love to teach empaths astrology because you already understand it on a visceral level. So let's just take an overview of what's going on in the world. We've been having this stage of what it is to build towards the new earth. The first stage, the great distraction. We were given a lot of distractions, whether it be wars, 9/11, various different things where people, Russiagate, I would lie, and all these things would happen. Lots of distraction. But not only that, our phones, media, all kinds of distraction in our world. So that has been the first stage, the great distraction. The next stage is the great deception. And that's where a lot of these things that were not good that people did, they're hiding it, lying about it, and various things like that, and deceiving us from what's really going on. And the amazing beings that we are keeps rising up. Therefore, it's all coming out. All this is being disclosed, and we are going to be brought up to understand what has been going on. So there's going to be a lot of things that come out in the open. They already have. They will continue to do that. And that's the stage that most of us are at right now, the great disclosure. Then, because we understand what that means, we have the Great Awakening. And the Great Awakening will bring the new earth. So that's something that I think that empaths have an understanding about what's happening already. And this recent thing that just happened was Uranus went into Gemini. Now, this is where it's going to stay till May 22nd, 2033. So this is a cycle that's going to be here for a while, and it's very important that we understand what that means. So I'll be going over that. I'm a New Earth minister, an Asian bodywork therapist, a holistic life counselor, a joy whisperer, which means that I get images of what bring people joy, and I do my best to point them in that direction. I'm a psychic artist, and I love to help people to be more creative in their lives. And this astrocosmos astrology is a way that I can teach other empaths to really flow with vibrational flow in their life. And that's my Lotus Heart Temple of Vibrational Flow is my church, if you will. So I'm very much into vibrational flow, whether it be through Qigong, through music, through sound healing, or through astrology. And something I've really explored recently is how astrology and hormones are connected. So, how many of you are interested in balancing your hormones more? If that's you, I'm going to be having an event that happens in September that I'm going to tell you all about. It's going to start on the 21st of September, which is a new moon, partial solar eclipse in Libra. And the next day is the fall equinox. And we're going to be doing a 90-day journey to balance our hormones, focus our lives, upgrade all the things that want to be upgraded. Basically, you make the goals and we support you in following through with them. Okay, so that's what's coming up here. Now, the thing that's most important as a joy whisperer is me reminding you to follow your joy, and there your heart will be. Know the wonder of life's blessings in the visions you share. And let this shared vision carry love through it all so that you have a love that is based on your visions that you share, the things that you want to bring to the earth together, the gifts that you have to share and give to help the earth be better and help new earth. So that's especially for the empaths. I really want them to understand how important it is, especially as today is the full moon in Capricorn, and it's all about what are your life goals? What are your long-term goals? What are the things that you feel you've come here to do? And I just want to say it takes a community to grow a soul. You know, we grow when a friend sees and nurtures the best of us and is our witness. With authentic support, we find the surest way to middle path. So, how do we cultivate support for what we love to offer? That's a big part of what this Capricorn full moon is all about. So when you are here in my space, I make sure that you focus on making a sacred space, a confidential space when we have classes or play shops or, gatherings, activations that I do, that we always have a judgment-free zone. We be in beginner's mind, and we're able to renew and discover and attract deeper relationships in all of our lives. If we want a partner that wants to come into our life, or if we have a partner already and we just want to upgrade the relationship, we focus on this because we know in our hearts we want a higher vibrational love. So that's the focus as a Lotus Heart Empath Empowerment programs that I have to help those with big hearts. That's what a Lotus Heart means, that you have a big heart with tools to walk with grace in this world and live in joy. So if you have crystals that you want to have around you, if you want to smudge or do essential oils, if you want to have something to write down, your journal, or essential oils to spritz you every now and then, water, make sure that you take care of yourself so that you take in this information with a lot of joy and comfort. So I'm going to go ahead and pray us in. I'm Reverend Aliah Selah, and this is the 6-step prayer that I learned from Michael B. Beckwith of Agape International Spiritual Center. And there is a 5-step affirmative prayer. He starts with gratitude, which I absolutely love. I think it's so important that we start with gratitude. So I just want to say how grateful I am that you came here to be part of this full moon in Capricorn, and on the heels of Uranus going into Gemini. So this 7-7 porthole is very special, and I honor you for being here, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm grateful for astrology because it helps us have insights to live a better life so that we live our highest vibrational timeline. So I recognize that God is everything, everywhere, all around, this omnipotent omnipresence that is there to hold us as we go through our journey in life. So knowing that this is true, I know that God is one. And knowing that God is one and that I seek to be one with God, that means I seek to be one with all. And that is my focus. I am one with all that is. And that's when we want to focus on what we want to realize. I realize that there are so many beautiful empaths who have so much to offer this world, and they're in the process of learning to ground what their gifts are so that they have more to offer of what that is. And that's my honor to do all that I can to help them to do that. So I know that this is something that is a large thing. It can be many different parts. It can be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual as we upgrade to the highest timeline. And so that means that we help each other, that we know that we are here and to bring us out in each other the best that we can. And for this, I am so thankful. I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for life as it flows the way it does, for acceptance, to knowing that it is already happening. These seeds that we have planted are already in the ground and growing. And I release this into the universe, knowing that it is already in process. It is already in motion. And so it is. Amen, a woman, a one, a ho, a she, Selah, so be it. So blessings. I hope that that prayer felt good for you. It's something I teach my clients how to do the 6 step affirmative prayer. It's such a wonderful way to pray because of how it sets us in the motion of understanding and then asking from a place where it's already come to be, and we are just recognizing it. So there are also 4 stages of spiritual growth that I'd like to teach my clients, and that's the first thing is to me. And although we are many of us not in the to me uh, philosophy, though we can have our moments where we get there. Things can happen where why does this always happen to me? It's victim consciousness, blame, feeling that there's no control, in fear, all those things. And that's when you think things happen to you. And then the second stage is by you. And that means you gain control, you give up blame, accept responsibility, and learn spiritual tools of manifestation. And that's what's so wonderful is you begin to really have visions and then bring them to you. And that's a very exciting place to be. The next step is through me, where you have awakenings, your faith increases, you give up control, and you become a channel. That it could happen this way, it could happen that way, and you just allow things to flow through you. And a lot of where flowology is happens there. And then the fourth stage is as me. And that means that you are one with all of life, no separation, love as peace in our lifetime. And I find that that's something that we all seek to be and grow towards. And that when we have people in our life who support us to be there, it helps us to be there more. So that's why I love to have groups and have sister circles or circles where we have people really helping to be witnesses for each other as we grow into our next greatest timeline. So I teach astrocosmos astrology. And astrocosmos astrology is a lesson plan for our lifetime. It's opportunities and setbacks, a guide. Seeing astrology as a language. It's how we explain the chemistry and alchemy we feel when we meet someone new. There's new themes and past life connections, and still we have free will. So it's how we respond with what comes to us. So we study wisdom, astrology, and all the great teachers who have come here, and awe. And that's when you spend some part of your day, every day, focusing on awe, whether that's seeing the sunset, walking in the green belt, playing with your grandchild or your child, because kids have so much awe. And or just, watching a YouTube video about ducks and kittens playing, whatever it is that brings you that sense of awe. I think it's a really important thing to do each day. So with astrology, a lot of people do it in a predictive way where they tell you who you are, what's going to happen to you. And I have spent over 35 years doing readings. And the first thing I do when I do a reading with someone is to help heal them from that experience, because that's not what astrology is meant for. It's not a predictive science. People may think that it is because maybe they're intuitive or they just believe that it is. It is a clock, like a big galactic clock. It gives timing insights, relationship insights when you compare charts, and soul growth. That's what it's really about. It's here for. So your birth chart is your inner cosmos, and your outer influences are the transits that are other cosmos, the planets or the other heavenly bodies that are affecting us. And if you compare a chart of somebody else, they become your transit. And then you see what you've come to learn and teach each other. And that way, it's very a good way to see relationship, because if somebody's doing something that really bugs you, you can understand that they're not doing it to bug you. It's just how they are and how they see. And perhaps they'll grow, but usually just an octave above what they're doing and still doing it, but doing it in a more conscious way. And that's where we come to teach each other and learn from each other so that we can help each other to be our best. So, what this is a chart that has the different phases of the moon. And I wonder, do you know your moon phase? It's so important because every time that comes up every month, you're going to have an affinity with that time. And it's very good to know. And if you haven't seen your chart yet, go to astroseek.com and you can get a free chart, and they also have a free chart storage, so you can put all your charts. And as you learn astrology, you collect charts of people you know well. So every time you come up with a new concept in astrology, you go looking at all your charts of the people you know well. Because we don't study astrology, we study people. And astrology helps us to understand them more. So basically, I suggest that very much so. If you want to learn astrology, AstroSeek is wonderful. It does have some very generic write-ups that it writes up. It will get you in the right direction, but you really need to do a chart where you go deeper than what they're giving you in their write-ups that are very generic. So if you're interested in getting your chart done, go to cocreatinglove.us/shop and you can do a reading with me, or you can do a mini reading where we just see how we like working together. And that is free, that I offer as well. So go ahead and check that out and let me know if you're interested. As far as the moon goes, I do something I call moon cycle qigong, and it blends inner home alchemy and home life prosperity, which together help us to align with the energy of the moon through qigong. So there's all kinds of movements for each phase of the moon, and it's a really wonderful way to get deeper in your practice. So these are all the astrology symbols. And the good news is once you have them, you pretty much can read a chart. And they usually, at AstroSeek, will write the name of the planet, not just the symbol. But it's good for you to learn the symbols. And once you know them, you know them. And you can get more meaning from your own experience as a empath, and your visceral understandings that will come through once you kind of know the lay of the land. So the most important aspects are trines. And remember, this is a 360-degree circle. So 120 is a third, and that means that there are four of them. And that means the four elements are in the three different phases that we have 120 degrees from each other. Sextiles are 60 degrees, and that is also complementary, a positive, as they say, type of aspect. There's oppositions where you have 180 degrees, and it could be contrasts, efforts. And basically, I find that with oppositions, you are growing towards the center. That's the goal of every opposition. Now, a square is like an itch on your leg. You got to scratch it. Some people feel that they're really negative, but I really feel that squares are just a call to action. So it gets us to focus on what it is that we need to do next, whatever that is. And sometimes it can be hard if you have a square with somebody in a very important place. It makes the relationship harder to work out. However, with enough awareness and understanding about astrology, you can work through that and find how you really inspire each other to do things. Okay, so a conjunction, which is anywhere from 0 to 10 degrees. Some people see 0 to 7 degrees, and that is a union, and it fuses together two planets that are next to each other. It's like they have the same concept of a feeling that you can't have one without the other when they're next to each other. Their symbols, their meanings join together. Okay, so these are all the different parts of the zodiac, and these are all the planets, and then you have asteroids and stuff. So once you know these symbols, you pretty much have astrology. And we will talk about it more as I show you some charts here. But first, I want to talk about the planets. So this is something called Ikigai. An ikigai is a Japanese concept meaning a reason for being. And what it is you want to find yourself in the center of what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. And in the center is your ikigai. So I found that with astrology, I could find that a lot of those things that they're talking about are the same symbols for the different planets. Your emotional balance, that's the moon. What you love, that's the sun. Your passion, that's your Mars, what you want to go towards. Your mission is more responsible, and that's their Saturn. Then what you're good at, Jupiter. It's all about education and stuff like that. It can be overindulgence, but if what you do is really love it and from a place of love, you care for yourself, then that Jupiter can be wonderful energy. In fact, Ayurvedic medicine really likes Jupiter. They don't do the outer planets, and so it's one of the furthest ones. Saturn is their furthest one, but Jupiter is also very much considered like the Santa Claus planet. So, what the world needs, that's Neptune, or your idea of what the world needs, that would be your Neptune. And Venus is what you can be paid for, what you want to receive. Pluto is your profession, which is kind of a tribal thing. It's how you fit in with the tribe. And Uranus is your vocation. And Uranus going into Gemini, Uranus is sudden changes. And Gemini wants to change a lot too. So that means a lot of changes. And you know how we might have the same profession, but we change vocations a lot, like we do sales, but different kinds of sales, different things in sales and whatnot. That would be your vocation. And then your ability to express all that you do, that's your Mercury. So, what we had happen that is so incredibly amazing, and I've been waiting for years for this. Pluto went into Aquarius. It's the furthest of the planets, and I've been waiting, saying, I believe that that's when the dawning of Aquarius will be. Not that at the very beginning we're all going to join hands and sing Kumbaya. No. At the beginning, there's going to be some upset because we have to change some of the people who are in power who really don't want to be egalitarian, who really want to rule the world. We have some elite globalists who need to understand that they're one of us. So this is going to change over time. Pluto just went into Aquarius November 20th, 2024. So it hasn't been that long. And we're going to see how that shows up. Now, the thing is, it's going to be in Aquarius until it goes into Pluto January 19th, 2044. That is a long time. Now, one of the things I like to look in is see the designs that the lines make. And you see that five-pointed star there? There's going to be another one coming up that I'll talk about as well. I think that those are better when they're more equal. But as you can see, some of the things that I talked about before are here. And we'll talk about that more. So there's some things that have happened with Saturn in Aries. It just went into Aries on May 24th. Okay. So it opens a window for those who seek to establish their calling in the new earth that is birthing now. And that has a lot to do with this Capricorn full moon. How do you see yourself offering what you have to offer for the new earth? That's really the big question. Now, Saturn went into Aries, and at the midpoint of Aries, which is at the beginning of the zodiac, we have this, Taurus. Uranus and Taurus. And that the Mercury is 28 degrees Taurus also. So those two going on was a big part of what happened. And then, as you see this Taurus and the sun, which is root chakra issues, tribal shadow needs, that's all this energy of Pluto, and it's in Aquarius now. And Neptune is more visions, creativity, dreams, and that trines Pluto and Uranus. And they trine each other about every 500 years, but not with a planet like Saturn at 0 degrees with Neptune there too. So Saturn and Neptune there at 0 degrees. So that makes it even more powerful. Okay, so and I've asked several astrologers, I've been doing research on it, and they, as far as I can see, like I said, every 500 years, Uranus and Pluto will line up this 120-degree angle, but not with Saturn and Neptune at the 0 or 1 of the zodiac. So this is pretty big. It's a new start, a new beginning. And I think that it's very important that Gemini is the movement, change, communications, and intellect. So it's very important that now we start really communicating in an eloquent way, because Uranus can be very erratic and sudden changes, not for bad things though. It does that to help us to align to our true self. So that's what's really important about this shift, is that it's not happening to us to hurt us. It's actually happening because we need to make sure that there's no time in history. This is unique. It is a paradigm for humanity. And the next 3 years, there's going to be rapid acceleration, a whole new episode for humanity. So hang on. We got a lot of stuff going on. Now, this is when the new moon happened, and that also shows more of what's going on with that wonderful triangles. You see it here. We have Uranus with the moon there in Taurus, and then Pluto in Aquarius, and it's pointing to 0 Saturn with Neptune right next to it. So this is really big. We're going to allow this to be something that is cumulative. And as you see here, this is our portal that's happening, the 7-7 portal, July 7th, that just happened. And this happened making Uranus go into Gemini, which also then leads to today with Capricorn full moon as the culmination of all of this energy that's been flying off with the very important, 0 Aries and of Saturn and Neptune, that whole thing that's going on right here. This is very unique. And then to have Uranus go into Gemini, that is very potent as well. So as I said, Uranus in Gemini changes the focus from where it was before. In 2018, Uranus went into Taurus, and we focused on farms, farmers, our food quality. And of course, that's when the whole thing happened with the lockdown and our health stuff. It also is a lot of climate control stuff for the earth. So that's what the earth energy was around Taurus. Well, now that's Gemini. And Gemini is communications, media, education, social relationships. So a lot of things are going to change. That's also AI and surveillance and the various things that we have going on with the computer system that is, supposed to help us, but can harm us if we are not aware of what's going on. That's why communication is so important right now. Gemini reminds us that we are co-creating with every thought, emotion, intention that we set and how we communicate about it. So, what are you dreaming in? Are you dreaming in full color? Are you dreaming in being a full blown person of all you ever wanted? Or are you still not quite ready to dream that big? What are you becoming? That's what the Capricorn full moon is all about. So that's what we're looking at right now. So we have this at 18 degrees, 49 seconds, focusing on a grounded structure, issues for our life, goals, and ambitions, and especially for empaths. I believe that this is a time for leadership. You're going to find that we need empathic leaders now. Now's a really good time for an empath to rise up and really get their energy together. Now, if you know your chart, you may know that there's cardinal signs, which is Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. Those are the cardinal signs. And if any of them you have from 16 to 20 degrees on your in your chart, you're going to be activated by this full moon. So the idea here is that, especially if you have Capricorn, career, leadership, worldly goals, personal ambitions, world themes, that's all about the Capricorn energy. And it's all about completion and conclusions and your ambition and reevaluating long-term goals and achievements. What is your life ambition and how does that fit with New Earth? What about your professional life and your social achievements? Saturn is also stationary retrograde, and Saturn is connected to Capricorn. It's ruled by it. So basically, it is even more potent, stronger for an influence when it's stationary direct. Stationary retrograde until it goes direct. So know that that's a time to review, to go back and to figure out, well, what is it? What is it? So that when it goes direct, we can bring that new energy into what is fulfilling for us. So it's time to look at, how do we see success, especially as an empath? Because you have so many gifts and you're so sensitive, and at times that can feel overwhelming. So I wanted to introduce myself, Reverend Aliah Selah, and I'm a joy whisperer, which means I get images of what bring people joy and I point them in that direction. I'm a musician, a sound healer, and a co-creative wellness and relationship coach, and the founder of the Co-Creating Love movement. I believe that love can heal our planet, can heal all our things. With enough love, everything can shift. So that's my focus and why I focus on how do we love, so that we can love our best in our best way. So I have a lot of things to offer. If you're interested, please go ahead to cocreatinglove.us/shop, and I can give you a mini reading where we can see how we work together. I have many, many tools. The Nine Qigong is various different tools that I have where you can do self-healing with this blessings flow, which is an EFT tapping song, an affirmation centered facial that you do the affirmations as you go, and a center channel that's an appreciation flow, which helps the multiple orgasm. Yes, that's an awakener for that. And also the HH9 series, which helps to balance our hormones. And it is thyroid hormone nutrients that I was given by Edgar Casey on the other side. So that's something we're going to be talking about more, because I have an understanding of how astrology and hormones fit together. And I want to help you and others to understand why that's so important, because there are so many things that have to do with our hormones, and you can see it in astrology as well. So I became an ordained minister with the International Metaphysical Ministry in January 18th, 2010. And I offer counsel for relationships, counsel for life changes, and also offer co-creative weddings and new baby ceremonies. And sometimes in the same ceremony, here I was at the Rainbow Gathering doing a co-creative wedding and also a baby blessing. And I just want you to know that Rumi says, what you are seeking is seeking you. So I have many people that I've worked with over the years, and I've found that I didn't like want to necessarily be a divine partner co-creation coach. However, they would meet their partners soon after I gave them readings. And many times this happened, and I began to say, you know what? There's something to this. Maybe I should focus on that because there's karmic and archetypal clues, and each has to do their inner work. But it's wonderful when we can help each other to grow. And so I've been very blessed to be able to help others to grow. And there was a story of a friend of mine who was absolutely distraught. Maybe you can relate. She had been in a relationship and they were getting a divorce, and she was just beside herself. She didn't know what to do because she really saw herself as partners with this man for the rest of her life. And all of a sudden, he wants a divorce. So she is not doing well at all. And I offered to do a reading for her. And in the reading, we went over a lot of things that are going on for her and what it means. And in the end, she felt a little bit better, but I must confess I had to talk to her one more time to give her more encouragement. And then she went out and met a man who makes flutes, was playing flute. She makes flutes, and they just hooked up immediately. They got married, and they had a son very soon afterwards. They were both older and weren't sure that they were going to have children. So it was a blessing in their life. And she met me as this child was going now as a young man to college. And she said to me, you know, Aliah, if you hadn't gotten me to go meet this guy, I would have never known that I wanted a child more than anything in the world. The man that I was with didn't want to have children, so I just let it go. But then once I met my husband now, and we had this beautiful son and raised him, I see how much joy this gave me that I didn't even know I needed. So that's the thing that's so incredible about this, that we don't always know what we want, but we know it when we have it, when we feel it. And we don't know necessarily when bad things happen that they're going to lead us to better things. So it's just a way of understanding that how powerful the human heart is, you know, leading us on our way. So I just wanted to tell you how that happened. And I work with people who believe in soulmates. I work with people who believe in twin flames. I call them divine partners because it's pretty much similar, but not the same. And my experience may not be your experience, and you may have been taught differently. However, the way that I see it from my experience is that a soulmate is somebody who completes you. You have a yin yang relationship. The things that you do well are the things that they don't do well. So you kind of help each other to grow in that way. The problem is that you can become codependent. Oh, you're so good at that. Why don't you do that? And then you don't necessarily grow. So it's very important in a soulmate relationship that you say, you know what, honey, I'm good at that, but I know that you can be good at that too. So I want you to rise up and get better at that, and I'll help you. And that's what my husband and I were soulmates. That's what he did for me when we started learning to make websites. He goes, you know, I'm not going to change your website every day. You're going to have to learn to do this yourself. So I did. And now I make many websites. And I'm so grateful that he helped me to do that, but helped me to do that for myself. It's very important to have that as part of a soulmate relationship. And then the twin flame relationship I found to be different. It's somebody who you see them and they are a mirror of yourself. You are just like so much like them that you go up and your energy is up, and then you both go down and your energy is down. So the lesson of a soulmate is different than a twin flame. With a twin flame, you want to be able to be there for each other when you're down, because you may very well be down at the same time. And so it's not like somebody's can help you, give you a hand if you're both feeling down. However, if you learn how to feel better through being together when you both feel down, the soulmate relationship, it will grow from a twin flame relationship into a more equal equanimity. So there you go. They're different. And then there's relationship chemistry and relationship alchemy. So relationship chemistry is where you meet somebody and you're like, I do not like that person. I don't know why. That's chemistry. Or I totally love that person. I don't know why. That's chemistry. It's when you first meet somebody, that first spark that you have to interact or not. However, relationship alchemy, that's when you really get to know somebody and you help them to grow. That's something that's very, very important. And it grows, the lead into gold of the relationship. So that's what we want to do. We want to learn how to do relationship alchemy. And so I kind of talked to you a little bit about that already here with the two different kinds, twin flame and soulmate. And the most important thing to find love, you have to be willing to risk being out of your comfort zone for at least as long as it takes to get past whatever's in your way. And that's with love or career. You just have to be okay with being a little bit uncomfortable so you can stretch and you find the middle path. And as far as what helps in relationships, I love this. This is something that my husband and I have found so important. We've been together 37 years, and this is really a very important part of it. Enjoying doing things for each other, yet never counting who's done more. Just always wanting to do more. Oh, I see that you're really tied up there. Why don't I help you with that? You want to help the other person, to help them to make their life easier. And consideration is the glue of all love relationships, being considerate. So it's even like being best friends, but being good roommates, and then lovers, so that when you make love, it's genuine because of all the good that you bring out in each other. So what is an empath? We have an understanding that we've heard that word, and many of you know that you're an empath if that's what you are, but not always. It's somebody who's intuitive, who is sensitive and sometimes overly sensitive. And if they at times attract people that don't respect them and perhaps try to take their energy from them, take their power from them, an empath is so empathic that they care about that person and they get confused, and it can be very hard. So that's one of the things I help empaths with my Lotus Heart Empath Empowerment Program. You can say that there's the empath and the narcissist dance, and I help people to understand the empaths, how to deal with those kinds of relationships and the pain that they may bring, and how to disengage, cut the cords, and move on if that's what need be. Because they don't seem to change. I want to believe that they can change. And if they are just been raised by narcissists and it's not really who they are, but it's how they act, then they can change. But if they truly have narcissistic behaviors, I have not seen that ever change. They may seem like they're getting better, but then they go right back into it. And I can say honestly that if you're with somebody and they keep asking for more, they are inconsiderate, and they forget things that are important to you, and the most important thing, they never say they're sorry, then that's somebody who you need to say my 3 favorite words: thank you, next, and move on. So I help empaths to do that. Because empaths are healers, caretakers, gardeners, cooks, parents, musicians, artists, indigos, psychics, crystals, light workers, star seeds, and I'm sure we'll add more names to that. I love empowering empaths and have developed many tools for optimal wellness and interdependent relationships. So that's how the two are connected. And if you're interested in my programs, please check out cocreatinglove.us or my other site, which is Lotus Heart Vibrational Flow. So, empathy is a gift, but why at times does it feel like a curse? Well, that's because we're around people who don't honor us and take advantage of our empathetic ways. So we have to find that we're in a place where we are constantly learning new ways to be empathetic in a healthy way. And that has a lot to do with the throat chakra. Now, you know probably the 7 chakras. The throat chakra is about communications and expressions. And that's so important now that Uranus has gone into Gemini, because that's has to do with that as well. It's a time to learn more eloquence in how we communicate. And that is the secret of empaths. Co-creative communications is a way to learn to communicate and honor your own needs while you are able to disarm bully behavior, which can happen in many different forms, and get strong enough to really be a leader. Because right now, as I said, the world needs empathic leaders. It really does. So here we go. Lotus Heart Temple of Vibrational Flow. It's something that I've come to offer. This is co-creative connections affirmations that I have my clients say every day. And the Lotus Heart Temple of Vibrational Flow is where we gather our energy together and learn all kinds of wonderful things, like, for instance, the neuroscience of love, which is especially for empaths so important. So I have lots of things. I study neuroscience and various different qigong, energetics, and things that help us, with our meditations and our activations to soar and be the best that we can be this timeline, this lifetime. Okay, so here we go. We have insights for Uranus going into Gemini, sudden changes in how we communicate, social relationships, education, and media. Then we have interdependence activations. Now, that's what's happening with this co-creative gathering that we're doing here today with Capricorn full moon. I'm going to end with an activation in interdependence. And I want you to think about right now, what do you want? And do you want what you want? We think we do, but sometimes it changes. So what is your long-term goal? Is it something that you still want? Now, remember, there's a lot of things going on right now. We have all over the world activations, rituals, gatherings, people coming together to raise up the energy to bring the new earth. And we also have solar flares a lot. There's big ones happening this weekend. So have you been feeling this? Has this been affecting you? How do you feel it affects you? And do you feel, this is an important question, do you feel that there are those in our galactic star family who are rooting for humanity to rise up? If the answer is yes, then I suggest you spend more time praying, meditating, and connecting with these benevolent forces who seek to help us, support us in this growing up period, becoming galactic beings with our galactic family. And I have some Facebook groups, Galactic Family Reunion Prayer Circle, which is one, and then Lotus Heart Temple of Vibrational Flow is another. Then I have co-creating Love Sister Circle and Co-Creating Love Divine Partner Circle. And if you're interested, as I said, for a free mini reading, we can work together. Make an appointment at cocreatinglove.us/shop. Okay, so what's coming up next? What's coming up next is the Lionsgate. That's going to be happening in August. It's always August 8th, and the apex is 8th, and then it goes to the 12th. And so I'm having one event of an activation, a heart opening, interdependent co-creation AstroQi activation. So that's the first one, is at the peak of it. And it's very important that at this time you know what you want to do so that you can walk through the Lion's Gate knowing what you want. So that's why I'm telling you now to prepare for this, so that by the time you walk through the Lion's Gate, you know clearly what you want to offer the new earth. So that's the first one. And then the other one is August 12th. 13th. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you. This is kind of exciting. Remember, I told you that there was a 5-pointed star. Look at this 5-pointed star. That is just a beautiful stellar thing. Once again, we have Uranus in Gemini and Pluto and the moon in Aquarius pointing to now 1 degrees Saturn and Neptune. As I said before, that's the top of the kite figure, but you can also see that there's a 5-pointed star. And even if you tilt your head a little bit, you can see that there's a pyramid as well. So this is a very potent time. Neptune and Saturn and Aries, and the moon, Pluto and Aquarius. It's just a very, very potent time. So we'll be going over that when we do the Lion's Gate. So please sign up on Eventbrite. I'll put the links down below, and you can sign up for this one as well as the Lion Gate closes. That's on August 13th. And Nostradamus said that this was a day that he saw as a hard time for humanity. That's why we are switching timelines, and we are re-envisioning Nostradamus's understanding, knowing that we can rise up on this August 13th and shift that timeline. So that's the second one. Okay, so this is the pattern for the 13th, August 13th. We also have the very similar, we have the 5-pointed star, we have the pyramid here, and we have the 120 degrees pointing to Saturn and Neptune. So it's similar, but the only thing that's different is that it's a few days later, and we see here that we have Jupiter and Venus in Cancer at the ascendant. So that's pretty potent. And we can talk more about this. If you study with me, we go over all of this. Let me just say that the next activation that I'm doing after that is for our hormones. Yes, our hormones. Are hormones dominating your life? Well, healing our hormones and reviving your life is really what I wanted to offer for this September activation. It's Sunday, September the 21st. It's a Libra new moon solar eclipse. And we're going to be doing the AstroQi activation to focus on this and to tell you about what we are going to be doing the next day. See, we have this here, and we have the thing about what's going on is planets go into a sign, then they move out of the sign, and then they go back into the sign, and then they're there for a while. So that's the way it happens. And here we see that Saturn has gone back into Pisces, and that's on September 1st. So by the time we get to the 13th, the 22nd, which is the fall equinox, or the 21st, which is the lunar eclipse in Libra, it's already in Pisces. Saturn is back in Pisces. And then February 13th, it will go back into Aries again. So those are little time things to tell you about that are happening. But here we go. We have this one here where we are going to be doing 90 days reviving from the inside out. So from the fall equinox to the winter solstice, we're going to be focusing on how we can rise up together and help each other through this period, helping our hormones and our astrological insights, and help us to restore, renew, and revive. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I haven't yet put that on Eventbrite, but I will soon. So be looking for it. And if you feel like this is something that you want to do, this new moon in Libra and the fall equinox is a very important time, because there's a lot of energy that's popping off right now. And as you can see, this is a kite here. I love seeing the shapes here. This is a kite. That's the same as we've had Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and pointing to now that Neptune is in Aries. But Saturn, until February 13th, will not be in Aries. It went back into Pisces. So that's the next day at the equinox. We have similar. And look at all this Libra, because the moon goes into Libra. It's here, it's in Virgo. And then it goes into Libra. So look at all this Libra energy. Mercury, the sun, and the moon in Libra. So that's powerful. Very, very powerful. We're going to be talking more about it so that I can give you more insights as to how it affects your personal chart. Because if you study with me, you will study your own chart. And that's something that I really want to encourage anybody who feels called and they want to soul blossom. That's what I call it, soul blossoming. Your Lotus Heart Empath Empowerment programs help you to soul blossom. So please focus on giving me a chance to show you what I have to offer by going to cocreatinglove.us/shop. And you can make an appointment with me. That's a free appointment to look over your chart and see what's going on, to look over what it is you want for your life, your goals, what obstacles might be in the way, things that have been hard for you that you've had to deal with, and how you can rise above it with a new way to go about it so that you're able to grow, because that's what this is all about. It's growing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do this wonderful activation. It's infinite Om. So go ahead and find yourself in a nice, comfortable position and give yourself an ability to really take this in and know that you are loved. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy this infinite Om activation. Thank you very much for sharing this full moon in Capricorn. Blessings to you and your life and what you seek. And know that I'm here for you if you need somebody to talk to. I love working with empaths, and I think that there's something that every empath has to offer. And every person has to offer, but especially empaths at this time of the new earth as it rises. We need leaders, leaders that are empathic. So please continue to grow towards whatever it is that you're coming to be, and know that your life is a gift and that it's important for all of us to enjoy this wonderful life that we've come to share. God bless.